happy to join you once more in University of Papua New Guinea. The great Grand Chief Somare is one of a kind person. For Papua New Guinea, he is the man. In many nations, you have founding fathers of the nation and national icons and national identity. I do not think I will come say it close to Sir Michael standing. Sir Michael and his generation of Papua New Guinean leaders were able to forge what we have today as national sovereignty, and for that, all of us today and all of us into the future, all that generation of Papua New Guineans who looked ahead into time and saw something that many did not see back then. In 1960s and 1970s, if you look into our nation's history, the country in its formative stage was not what we have today, where you have total freedom, where you have ease of communication, where you have the ability to move and live as you so choose. Back in the 60s and 70s, it was a tough place. I remember very well my first moment of being a member of parliament. We assembled at the camp in Kokopo, and the late great Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare told us his story of why he had to lead at all costs independence in the late 60s and 70s. That movement had to happen, and he told us to delay was something of, in as far as he was concerned, to delay was not an option. We had to get independence, and he had to bulldoze and do everything possible to ensure 1975 independence and political independence was arrived upon. And he told us, and I just want to say a moment about the history of our country so that young Papua New Guineans appreciate where we came from and where we are today and where we must be. You know, before independence, if you go down to Ella Beach, for those who are old enough, I never lived in Ella Beach in the 70s, so I don't know what it was, but I'm looking at papers, but maybe my brother LBS and Professor Griffin can assist us. It was beautiful, but there were places for whites and there were places for natives. And Grand Chief Somare told us at one moment when he was trying to go into Ella Beach Hotel, and they asked him to stay outside, and he said that was the moment he made up his mind, it doesn't matter what, independent it must be for his country. And today, living on, sometimes we think that independence was easily secured. All you have to do is look at the other side of the border, and the struggle for self-determination is still going on. Sovereignty and borders that were established before our time must be appreciated by our generation today and forever going on into the future. Whilst there was no bloodshed and whilst our flag was hoisted as Australian flag was lowered down with no struggle, leaders at that generation who made everything possible for us to be independent today must be honored, and the greatest champion of them all in that generation was Sir Michael Somare, the great Grand Chief of our nation. For that, we celebrate his life today. That is the reason why we have dedicated our Memorial Day to honor the day he passed. I don't think any other Prime Minister or any other person will have a similar respect going forward into the future. He was one of a kind, he was the founding father of our nation, and I want to appreciate University of Papua New Guinea putting up this memorial service every day in remembrance of his passing when the annual day arrives. This tradition and this program must carry on going forward into the future as part of UPNG's calendar and as part of our nation's calendar going forward, because Sir Michael Somare and his generation gave birth to our country. When I was here in 1990 to 1993, our country was only about 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. Today, our country is going to celebrate our 48 years of independence this September 16. I want to pause for a moment and reflect on 7 attributes of Sir Michael Somare. When many said it was not possible, he was an optimist. As an optimist, he saw every possibility on things he wanted to do in life. The great-grandchief was an optimist. He became a member of parliament in 1968. He became Pangu party leader then. In 1972, self-government. 1993, constitution was conceptualized. I beg your pardon, 73, 72 self-government, 73 constitution was conceptualized. 78, it was promulgated. 1974 and 75, we became independent. In 6, 7 short years, a young man of only 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, in prime of his life, with just a teaching certificate, was able to rally the most diverse nation on the face of planet Earth. Over 1,000 tribes, speaking over 800 languages, who at the time, the Tolais wanted to be on their own, the Bougainvilleans wanted to be on their own, the Papua Besana was huge, the Highlanders were still up there in the bush. He united leadership, he united people, he united everyone. And he was able to achieve this through an optimism worldview. And today I want to encourage University of Papua New students. As we commemorate on his life, I want you to be optimists also. Never to be a pessimist, never to be doubtful, never to think that you are an accident or you are struggling through life. There are others who are worse than you are. And I want you to have an optimist attitude in life. This is the reason why I am here today, engaged with you. The second character, he was a selfless man. He was a selfless man. A person who think about others first and himself last. He put the interest of others ahead of his own interest. I want University of Papua New Guinea students today, as leaders today and leaders of tomorrow. 30 years ago when I was at this university, I never imagined I'll be Prime Minister of this country. I was just a student like you. Going through my 3 or 4 years of my university program, sitting like you, attending Forum Square like this, eating the mess. Yet 30 years from that time I was a student here, I speak to you as the #1 servant of your country. And so, I want you to have this value of Somare. Second value, he was selfless, putting the interest of others ahead of his own interest. Number 3 value of Somare's life, as I worked with him and studied his life and I read about his life, he was a promoter of national unity. He embraced national unity. Country first, his Murik Lake last. Country first all the time. Your place of origin come last, he put his country first. He was a national unifying force. Students of today and past students like me and presently serving in our country, if we truly honor the fathers of our country and those who gave our independence, led by the #1 man, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, third character, we must be national unifiers and not national destroyers. Number 4 point, he was a promoter of PNG way. While embracing national unity, He always promoted Papua New Guinean ways, our culture, our identity, the blend and the symphony of the 1,000 tribes into one heartbeat. He always promoted PNG way in the way he go about doing his business. He was our greatest Melanesian chief. He was the #1, and PNG way and promoting of PNG way was never away from his way of doing business. Number 5, I beg your pardon, he promoted equality. Everybody's equal on the table. Boys or girls, men or women, rich or poor, educated or not educated, everybody was equal in his eyes. And I want to put to you today, University of Papua New Guinea. You look into your sister with you in the campus. You look into the brother with you in the campus. He may not be the most handsome boy or prettiest girl, but he's equal like you. Just to tell you a story to spice up the evening. When I was here at UPNG, I asked a girl out, and you know, she said, "You tarry at last place." Anyway, look into the brother with an equal lens. Look into the sister. She's your sister, she's your brother. Boyfriend aside, girlfriend aside, that person is equal to you. And every Papua New Guinean must be able to treat each other equally. And as we hold responsibility, like me or every other responsible in society, we must dispense love, care, resource equally to all parts of our country and to every people, leaving no place, no person behind. That was Somare way. Number 6, he was a Christian. In the midst of so much diversity we have, he entranced his character and life around his deep-rooted Christian faith. For having Christianity deep in his core, he was able to look into others and see them as equal, treat them with respect, talk about uniting everyone, and have the courage to be optimist. Being a Christian is not out of touch with reality. But being a Christian is fundamental to who you are as a person, because you give respect to the creator of your life, God who created you and created me. Somare was a Christian. And being a Christian, he was law-abiding. The last attribute I have for him tonight, he was law-abiding. Now I just want to conclude with this one. Papua New Guineans, students, if you want to do well for your country, if every other attribute of Somare I mentioned earlier is a little bit too hard for you, the best you can give for your country tonight and going forward is being a law-abiding Papua New Guinean. Everything else is secondary. If you claim to be a Christian and you're not law-abiding, you're not a Christian. If you claim to be a Papua New Guinean and you're not law-abiding, you're not a Papua New Guinean. Every Papua New Guinean must be law-abiding. That is the greatest gift our generation can pass on to the next generation. The foundation of our country has been already planted in the formative years of our country since 1975 and up to today. And amidst the challenges, we as your government, we're trying our absolute best to ensure that our country is safer, better, be passed on to our children's generation. But it can never happen if our generation will not embrace all the principles and values our greatest leader ever in friendship, Sir Michael Somare stood by and stood for. Chief amongst them, being a Christian and Papua New Guinean, he was law-abiding. Tonight I come to you, my children. Tonight I come to you, my fellow Papua New Guineans, as we commemorate on the greatest man ever lived in our country and his life. If you truly care for him, because you care for him and our country, then your care must be truly embraced in the character of respecting rule of law and keeping the laws of our country as we journey into the future, because when all of us, from leadership down to the society, if we follow the rule of law, our country can be the place the fathers of our country envisages it to be. I just want to conclude by saying thank you very much, President Mr. Luther Kissing, the Vice Chancellor, and every one of you who have stayed this moment for me to be part of you. May Somare's inspiration be part of us every day. I hope tonight you took the 7 characteristics of Somare, and I repeat: optimism, selfless, national unifier. He was a promoter of PNG way. He treated everyone equally. He was a Christian, and being a Christian, he was law-abiding. That is the 7 values I want to pass on to you tonight. In your own life, as you live, find a space to contribute to your country. It is not bad out there. And I want to tonight end by making one or two commitments. But before I make this commitment, I want to point as an example one young fellow. His name is Kum Min Songa. Kum Min Songa left University of Udall, or UNRE, in 1990. I beg your pardon, not 1990. In 2020. I still remember 1990 because my first year in UPNG. It's a very significant year for me. 2020, he left University of Udall as a graduate from the university. He never went to the cities and towns looking for a job. He went back to his village. He mobilized his family, and he started to harvest and buy coffee from his village. In 2021, he made a turnover of 800,000 kina. 800,000 kina. Much higher than what he would have earned as a degree holder in an office somewhere. He had the money for his cooperative. 400,000 was spent on the expenditure of that cooperative. Another 400,000 kina was profit for people in his village. About 20 families had a split of that 400,000 kina. Your country is not that bad, my children. Tonight I want to ask University of Papua New Guinea, my government is promoting Papua New Guineans to go into the space of business. Whether it's rural business or urban business, doesn't matter. Every student coming out of UPNG must have a skill or basic knowledge about what it is or what it will take to get engaged in business and SME. I put my second request to the UPNG SRC. We will find a partnership if you could have an office that we will support in your SRC that registers all former UPNG students, and not just UPNG students, but students of other schools who are doing nothing in society. We want to mobilize former students who are not employed and doing nothing. We want to mobilize them back into productive engagements. And I speak in the presence of Paul Awara, who is sitting here. A national youth service will be established to mobilize students who come out of universities with degree but do not find any work. We want to mobilize you back into doing productive engagement in society, hopefully linking you to an SME that you can do back home or anywhere else in this country you so choose to do. And so I asked the University of Papua New Guinea's SRC for partnership. You set up in the office a section that runs to assemble the data of students who graduated from this university but are looking for a job out there and still not finding a job. We will work with the National Volunteer Service and Department of Defense to engage a national volunteer program for youth of our country to get engaged, and hopefully we could build more youths like Mr. Kum Musingo of Tawai Siasi district. Potential in our country is big. People looking for a job. Government wants to mobilize the youth of our country again. And I call for partnership with SRC. You know students who graduate every year. I see former UPNG presidents who are here. They could get engaged in this work, and we start to mobilize our students to point to you to a better self-employed SME space in our country, they're just be disengaged and doing nothing in the cities of our country or towns of our country. So SRC, I ask you today if you could partner us and mobilize our students who are out there. We can, former students who are out there, for us to see what we can do with them. Is that okay? Hopefully this can be a program that we can embark upon, so we mobilize the youth of our country into productive engagements. Thirdly and last, the Michael Somare Library here commemorating this moment. I know we said up there that we will do the big statue, but for the library, our government commits 5 million kina for e-library. Let's do an e-library here. People can go into e-library. The next time you see me here, Mr. Vice Chancellor, I will bring the money, but I want a clear visible plan for e-library, expand this library, or put internet facilities here. People can have, students can have the laptop and they can access library here on a free Wi-Fi access. That is something that I'm leaving for you so that we get our students here. And my request for you is to build up into their courses a course that would make them know about business also. They can be doing science, but they must know business. They do law, but they must know business. They do politics, but they must know business. So when they come out from school, if they're not employed somewhere, I want them to be entrepreneurs in our country. That will complement my Tech Back PNG drive in this week as well. All right, thank you very much, Opikini. Thank you for inviting us. I'm really happy to be with you. I have another program at Sahib and Marape. Today is Sabbath, and some of my church members asking me what are you doing on Sabbath, but I'm telling them I'm almost talking on good values all the time on Friday nights. And so thank you very much for allowing me to be part of you. God bless each and every one of you. Be optimistic. Look after your friends in school. Treat them well. This is true Somare values. Go to church on Sundays or Saturdays. Respect your PNG way. Especially respect your girls amongst you. By doing that, you're truly honoring the great chief who has passed. Thank you very much.